anyway, the channeling is always in English. The reason for that is this material, I'm very passionate about sharing it with as many people as possible. So we're going to record this session and share it on YouTube in, you know, snippets later down the line. This is Michelle, my co-star. Michelle and me also co-create swimming with wild dolphin trips annually in Egypt on a boat, where we really dive deep together with the platform of Mahara on the Klerkstraat, Amsterdam, and Design for Awareness, which is my channeling work with Arjun. And yeah, we just wanted to take a moment to also announce that. Who is entirely new to the channeling of Arjun? Can I see some hands? Ooh, wow! Welcome, you guys! Newbies! This is going to be interesting. And who came through the platform of Wicked Grounds? Okay, okay. And the rest was more through Facebook, Mahara, or Design for Awareness. Okay, cool. Yeah, so to the newbies. Have you got any experience with any kind of channeling? Other speakers that channel a little bit? For sure. It's the most similar thing that you can find. Yeah, so, okay. What I always like to say at the beginning of any kind of group event. This is about the information and whether you can use it in your life. You don't have to believe in ETs in order to be here. You don't have to believe that the source is what I think the source is. This may very well be, you know, like some kind of schizophrenic aspect of myself. But then still, if many people are benefited by that schizophrenic aspect, why not share it with more people? So this is what I'm doing. I kind of started this as an experiment. The feedback, however, was so overwhelming that I decided to make this my journey, and I'm still on that path. I'm still exploring, I'm still surrendering, and allowing myself to be led into this adventure, and this is really fun. So in my own understanding, to give a super short intro, Arjun is a future aspect, parallel incarnation of my grander self. There's only here and now. You're free to believe that or not as well. If there's only here and now, and we have past and future lives, therefore they must coexist. If there's only now, all your past lives, all your future lives are here now. And that's why you can actually cross-connect with them. So that's the idea. That's what's kind of happening here. Arjun introduced himself to me as a future self, but though he isn't how do you say, negating the idea of a linear evolution, because that also exists. He says, okay, so I'm in the future, but we can simultaneously cross-connect, and that's what's happening in a channeling mode. So I go into a kind of deep meditation, you could call it a trance, but I'm a lucid channeler. I hear the words, I pick the words, there is the channeler filter, I'm very transparent about that. So what you are perceiving is a mixed energy being of Arjun and me. People who have been meditating a lot, who are working in energy work, they may pick up on the vibe. You may even already pick up on it now. Some people are really sensitive to this. So if you get a little drowsy, or if you feel tingly, or you get super happy, whatever it is, I would say go with the flow, allow it to run through you. If it makes you a little bit introvert, it's also totally fine to sit with your eyes closed and just enjoy, you know, the vibe while you listen in. As far as I understand, there's a whole lot more happening in the background than just what you hear in the audio translation. There is a real energy work thing going on here, and especially in a group, this is usually pretty strong. But of course, I will leave that up to you. This is my experience, and you don't have to take my word for it. Definitely experience it for yourselves. So, if there are no other real practical questions, no, everybody's like, get on with it! We're gonna do 2 halves of channeling, so let's see where we're gonna go. I always start with a little guided meditation. It takes about 6 to 7 minutes, and at the end of the meditation, you will be speaking with Arjun. This is my way of connecting to him. I'm the one who starts, you know, the meditation, and then by the end, you may also hear a shift in my voice, and we'll see what happens from there on. So get comfortable if you want. have observed, as your antennas grew longer, as you became more sensitive to input, any kind of input, it may translate differently for different people. But as you have noticed yourself perhaps become more sensitive to these things, you may have also noticed that certain things are truly not resonating with you anymore. That you could say, the boundaries are asking from you to be noticed more significantly. Before now, that was less the case. You could say that you have been playing through a chapter on your planet with your collective human consciousness, wherein the idea of polarity and contrast has been played through very thoroughly, so thoroughly, even that the chapter is ready to be pretty much closed. It will change shape. In fact, you could even say you are jumping to a whole new book, to a whole new type of adventure, a whole new era. This has been referred to by some of you on your planet as the move into the next dimension, the next level of your evolution, energetically, physiologically, etc. On that jump, so to speak, you still have your free will intact. This is not something you're being pushed into. This is something you are all inviting yourselves into, from unconditional love, from your own soul level, from your own higher selves. And every single one has their own emotional, intuitive compass guiding them on this way, on this journey. By the measurements of that compass, you will always find that following your highest excitement will guide you to the most high energy frequency version of you, meaning that you will receive reflections into your life that are also holding and containing that high energy frequency. By doing that, you also invite reminders into your physical reality dimension to help you see where you are still unconsciously or consciously buying into belief systems that are no longer serving you. In order to make that apparent to you, that is exactly why you feel the push and pull of energy frequencies that do not align with you anymore jump to the surface so much stronger nowadays. Especially these people we know right now are really letting themselves be hurt because they believe that what they're experiencing is over the top. And it is because of that that we have decided to devote a transmission to this particular subject, because we felt maybe it would be nice to see this particular unfolding from a different point of view so that you can have more fun with it, because that's the idea. To play with it. It isn't something that is punishing you. You are not wired in the quote-unquote wrong way. People that call themselves highly sensitive, often where we see many of those people in your society right now, use the label from a victim point of view. Well, I'm HSP, I'm highly sensitive. I can't handle this, I'm sensitive to this, I'm sensitive to that. I have to lock myself into my room. And I have to meditate 20 hours a day in order to remain sane in this society. I pick up other people's headaches, I pick up other people's emotions. I don't know if I can still go to a birthday party because there are so many energy frequencies in the room, it makes my head spin. If that is where you feel you are, there are several reasons why you may have manifested that for yourself. But a big part of it might be because you're simply defining yourself to be so overly sensitive and you do not see it as a strength. You see it as a weakness. And we want to help you remember that if you create your own reality and if you are all guided from unconditional love by your own souls, by your own higher selves, why would you create something on your path, anything on your path, that doesn't have within itself the capacity to serve you, to be transformed into a positive experience. And this particular aspect of your being, and we see so many now, spreading their wings, wanting to spread their wings, but having their antennas so far out that they're afraid to do so because they don't know what they'll fly into, you could say. Because of that, we want to remind you, this is a strength. Your body, your system, your emotional body, your psychological body, your physical body, all of you is letting you know by these kind of sensitivities that you are growing stronger, that you are ready to stand in your power, that you have, in fact, more tools in your backpack than you might have previously been aware of. Every single time you sense somebody's energy frequency and you say, well, that is a negative energy frequency, I don't want to have anything to do with that, I'm just gonna walk away. Obviously, of course, you have the choice to do that, and for some people that is exactly the point for them to discover that they have the freedom of choice, of speech, of voice, to walk away from certain circumstances. If you have a strong desire to actually leave the room but you're not giving yourself permission, they may have something going on within their system that needs to experience another person walking away from them. And that will bring them the highest level of teaching that they need in order to get to know themselves better. But there are also those that manifest these kind of encounters in order to understand how they can stand strong within parameters of another person on another wavelength and not be bothered by it. We're gonna suggest to you a different mythology of looking at the idea of picking up somebody else's energy. The way wherein right now most of you have chosen to define this in your mind as an image is very often, I'm here, the other person is over there, they are emanating an energy frequency and it is sticking to me and I can't do anything about that. I can feel it, I'm picking it up, I'm absorbing it. In fact, what you're doing, whether you are really sad or angry because another person is choosing to feel that way, or whether you feel super happy because you see another person is choosing to feel that way, it is not so much that you're picking up like an antenna what they're emanating. It is more that you're choosing to go within yourself, and that within your own system there exists a copy, you could say, or actually, to be more specific, the original of the person that you're projecting out there for you to be observed by the rational mind. Now, this is a little bit of a mind bend, we understand for most of you. But what you're living in, the reality that you observe around you, it's a projection of your inner higher self, and you are co-creating each other on the go. This doesn't negate the fact that you are all your own individuals and that your point of view is unique, needed, and absolutely necessary within all that is, to be all that is. So you are an unmissable segment of that whole. From these tiny segments, they all within themselves, like an actual hologram, and you can Google this on your computers to get deeper insight into the science of a hologram and how it works. Just like an actual hologram in your world, every single segment of it contains the picture of the whole. So when you quote-unquote pick up somebody else's energy, what you're doing is accessing that and underlining it within your own system. Now, the real question isn't why are you picking that up, it is why are you underlining that specific aspect from the reality that you are projecting outside of you. Could you follow along so far?
Yes.
Yes? Everybody?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, in order to assist you, if you want to, with this particular idea, use that question the next time, perhaps if any single one of you feels themselves into such circumstances, has brought themselves into such circumstances. And understand, if you want to, or remember if you want to in that moment, you're choosing to underline that segment of the projection that you're believing to be living in. Now, why would you do that? You will always be able, by checking your emotional compass and asking yourself, what is this triggering in me? What is this bringing up into the light for me? What is the thing that wants to be seen the most as a result of the circumstances that I have now chosen to project around myself, or seemingly around myself, in this persona self incarnation? What kind of desire is it bringing up? Does it bring up a desire for more open communication? Does it bring up a desire to walk away? Does it bring up a desire to shine your light more brightly, to speak your truth? Whatever it brings up, this irritation that you were feeling, the resistance that you were feeling, that you previously labeled as their annoying energy, is now unraveling to you deciding to suppress something within yourself. Because that is what you're actually picking up on. And this is really beautiful, and this is really powerful, because the next time you feel annoyed by another person, this lets you know immediately there is room for expansion within me, and within the cloak, or the costume you could say, of the emotional wavelength that the other person might be tuning in with within themselves. With that as a mask, I am telling myself something is out of alignment. Something is out of alignment, something needs space, something wishes to be seen and brought into the light. And that is a power, that is a tool, that is something you can use. That is something that helps you navigate more clearly. Because from now on, you can choose to decide to do something with that message that you're telling yourself in that moment, instead of continuing to push it under the table, which will result only and inevitably into more resistance, into a repetition of these kind of circumstances that will get denser and denser and denser. And the reason for that, again, is not that you're being punished, not that you're doing anything wrong. In fact, it is that you love yourself so much that you're urgently pushing yourself to wake up and see what's going on by the barometer of your emotional guidance system. Many people on that train track are open to expand their boundaries of physical reality into the non-physical. And it is because of that that your antennas are growing so long, and that you may have more vivid dreams, that you may have experiences that not everybody else immediately understands. But there we get to the point where the label of HSP, or highly sensitive person, may not always work in your benefit. With using that label, you disconnect yourself from, quote unquote, the rest. Whereas every single person on your planet has some type of sensitivity going on, has some type of long antennas that just translate in a different way. Everybody is differently wired, and you will navigate towards those that most often resonate on a more or less similar wavelength. But everybody has some kind of a sensitivity translation going on in their reality, no matter how aware they are of this. And by labeling yourself and cutting yourself out of the rest like that, it becomes energy frequency-wise a little bit of a disease, like an allergy, which is what we pick up on very often in your society right now. Now, you can obviously, and of course, if this continues to feel, and absolutely feels the most practical and neutral way to state yourself to other people, to introduce yourself to other people, you can continue to use that term and introduce yourself that way. But if after truly checking in with yourself, you feel a little bit of a hesitance there, a little bit of a maybe I am done with using this label, then we highly suggest that you drop it and just start playing with the beautiful gifts that you've been given. And you can redefine and obviously, of course, find new ways to explain to your environment, if truly needed, what's going on, what you experience, or in fact choose to be true in your reality. Just check in for yourself. We know all of you have something that you may define yourself as sensitive in. Perhaps a type of food, perhaps a type of people, perhaps a type of location. Think of that thing now if you want to. And instead of defining it the way you possibly did previously to this encounter, to this transmission, instead of saying that is a thing that triggers me a lot, that bothers me a lot, that pushes buttons in me, start that definition with I am choosing to have that and that circumstance activate new routes of exploration within me. Put it in that sentence and feel throughout your entire system, all the way down to your gut, what that does for you. This is just the starting point. You're just in the trampoline, you just jumped in. You're on your way up. You are using the momentum of what seems to be resistance. Because you see, when you're in the bottom of the trampoline, when you just jumped in, you're right in the middle, you're as deep as it goes. You can't see over the borders, you can't see the horizon, you don't know where you're going, and it seems so low. But you know it has a momentum going, and you know that this is going to push you back up. And that is exactly what these activations, because that is exactly what they are, what these activations are about. You're teaching yourself to navigate on an ocean that may seem very wild and rough in the waves at the moment. But once you understand and remember that you have chosen to be on that ocean, that every single wave is a segment of your pure source energy being offered to you, and that you can ride those waves, then it will begin to feel like a power. And sooner or later, you won't feel, most likely, the need to label yourself highly sensitive with a victimized energy frequency to the label. But this is up to you, obviously. We are just reflecting this back to you. And we are very excited about all of your presences in this room. You are present to us. And we are really looking forward to dive deeper or ride more waves with you on this subject or any other subject that might be on your mind, or better yet, in your hearts.